What's up gamers, Coach Brandon here. Today we're going to be talking about how to set up a trap for your enemies in team fights. Doing this is a good way to make fights favorable for you and your team even if you're down in gold. Before we get into the video, make sure to stay updated in our Discord and all the events that are being run. Okay, let's get into it. To warm up, you should learn to the practice tool and practice flashing over walls or using movement abilities to go over walls or terrain. I know this seems like a strange warm up, but it's going to be important in this lesson, that you know tons of options for escape routes for your champion. Essentially, the goal of this warm-up is to ensure that you don't need to overthink an easy route of escape. The drills in this lesson are going to put you in dangerous positions, so you need to be able to think quickly on how to get out and get to safety quickly to apply the concepts in this video. Practice doing this for 2 to 3 minutes on the practice range. The first concept we're going to be talking about is baiting the enemies into a bad fight. The main way of doing this is by using the neutral objectives. You should know that the neutral objectives are what everyone wants to fight for in game, so they're an easy bait tool to use to get good fights for your team. Starting this is simple. Just start the current neutral objective, and then as soon as you see your enemy start walking towards you, stop fighting the objective and turn on your opponents. The reason this works so well is because your enemies will not expect you to turn on them. They'll expect you to still be fighting the objective. So when they are suddenly turned on, they will start to panic and your team will have the upper hand. You can practice this by going into an unrated match, and when an objective spawns, clear the vision around the objective and then start it. If the enemy walk towards you, stop doing it and fight them. If they don't walk towards you, then feel free to take your free objective. This won't work every time, especially if your team is down a lot of gold. So in those cases, just back off and give the objective and try to get farm in other places of the map. The next, slightly more effective and much more dangerous way to bait your enemies is to look like you are alone when your team is close by. This is where that warm-up comes in handy. If you have a lot of teammates close to you and they're all out of vision, a good thing to do is look like you're alone and then quickly use a flash or a movement ability to fall back to your team for some free kills. This works well because if the enemies only see you, most of the time only 1 or 2 of the opponents will commit themselves to chasing you, making them free pickings for your team. The best way to practice this is in bots or unrated, and walking around alone while your team is close and out of vision. If you mess up and die, it's okay, just keep trying it and eventually you'll get the timing down easily. Sometimes in games, we don't have to bait our enemies into bad fights. Sometimes they just mess up and give us a free fight. What I mean by this is if you see a big enemy threat, use their major cooldown early. It's a really good time to ping your team and tell them to fight.
I'm running up
for example, if the enemy team is a Malphite and you see the Malphite use their ultimate, you should look to take the fight against the enemy because they are missing a big engagement and CC tool. This gives your team a major advantage in the fight, making it winnable whether you're ahead or behind. People make mistakes like this all the time. You just have to know how to look for them. In an unrated match, identify which opponent has the biggest impact ultimate in a team fight, and if you see them use it poorly, look to take a fight with that ability is on cooldown. Again, I'm Coach Brandon, and today we went over how to take advantage of your opponents and take advantageous fights for your team. If you have any suggestions on concepts you would like us to go over, feel free to leave a comment on the video. Always remember to stay hungry, stay humble, and I'll see you next time.